Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very different one. This time we're going to talk about all of the books that we read in 2022. I'm Miss Ashley.
I'm Miss Melanie.
And I am Miss Liz.
And we are your youth librarians. Yay! All right, so let's get started with talking about, I love to gush on books, so we're going to talk about the books from 2022. Let's start with Liz. What did you read in 2022?
I read a total of 147 books in 2022.
Wow.
Not all of them would be considered juvenile fiction or young adult, but one of the first ones I read is by Jessica Lewis, and it's called Bad Witch Burning. The main character is Cottrell, and she has a special ability to talk to the dead. Ooh. And no spoilers, at the beginning she is told to stop. But it's one of the only ways that she can get money to support her mom, who's unemployed, and her mom's deadbeat boyfriend of the week, as it says in the book jacket. And she's working part-time jobs and trying to go to high school at the same time, so she ignores the warning and continues to talk to the dead. But instead of talking to the dead and to ghosts, she raises the dead. Ooh. And so that opens up it's an entirely different situation there, and you understand her motivations for doing what she does and for her actions, but then she has to realize that actions have consequences, and can she pay the price for the magic? Ooh. So it was really good. I couldn't put it down, and it talks about a bunch of different and difficult topics that we wish we would see more in YA books. So it's kind of a look into the Black experience. There's some gang violence. It's abusive people that might be in your family, and then how there are resources out there to help you. But it was a really good book, and I highly recommend it.
This is definitely going on my TBR.
It's good.
For sure.
I like the cover, too.
Yes.
She looks tough.
She is.
She does. Do you want to take turns?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, I'll go for it. So I have two here because it's a duology. Actually, it's not a duology. It's a trilogy. So it's not finished, and I am waiting on pins and needles for the third one. But This Poison Heart and This Wicked Fate are awesome books to read. So it starts with This Poison Heart by Kaylin Bayron. She also wrote
Cinderella's Not Dead.
Cinderella's Not Dead, thank you, which is also really good. And this one's great because Briseis, which is an awesome name, has the power to raise plants with like a single touch. She also has poisonous blood. Ooh. Oh, it's super cool. But she can't control this power. So her adventures lead her to this old mansion that she inherits from her aunt. And then we go on this crazy adventure that takes us back through Greek mythology and everything. And she learns the secrets of all of her powers that where she can control plants and stuff. And then guess what? The book ends on a cliffhanger. So definitely grab the second one, This Wicked Fate, which takes place, starts minutes after the first one ended. And this one ends on like a serious cliffhanger, guys. Like, really have the second book ready. Because you're going to be like, what? And then it goes right back into it. And this one's awesome because it catapults you right into the journey across the sea, where you find out more about her Greek heritage, her Greek mythology heritage. There are gods, there is power. This is a really good book. And it's such a good book for older teens to read. It's a little violent. Yeah, I like violence. And it's so great because it deals with female relationships and making a name for yourself and really just taking life by the horns. It's so good. So definitely check it out, This Poison Heart, and This Wicked Fate. And there's another one. I don't know when it's coming out.
I'm glad I brought you the first book to show today, because it's like, I'm going to take that one back with me.
So good.
I'd heard of it, but I didn't know it was all like mythology and everything too. So that's super cool. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I read 110 books, I think, this year. So I only picked my favorites, kind of. Okay, so this is the first one. It's called Cat Plus Gamer, and it is a manga by Wataru Nadatani, sorry. So it's about this girl who has an office job, and she just mundane life. Every time when she comes home, she plays video games because she's obsessed with video games, and that's all she does. She goes to work, comes home, and plays video games until she gets a cat.
She needs a cat.
And then she's like obsessed with her cat. And it's so great because the cat is just, it's so cute. Like every time it does something cute, she's like, oh, you're so cute, I have to take a picture, which is my entire life because I have 3 cats. And I would say out of like the 2,000 photos on my phone, probably 1,500 are of my cats. So I love it. I relate to it. And it's just a fun book. There's 2 of them out right now. And it's great. Anyone who loves games or cats, I very highly recommend it.
What was it called again?
Cat and Gamer.
Cat and Gamer.
I forgot I ordered that one for
It's
Punagora.
so cute.
That's awesome. All right, my next one is actually a recommendation from one of our coworkers, Mason. He recommended it to me last year. I read it and listened to the audiobook. I've given this book to my uncle and my brother. It's Mog World by Yahtzee Crawshaw. I highly recommend the audiobook because the author narrates it. And he has all the different voices, and it's wonderful. So, no spoilers. Jim is dead on the front cover. He is a music student who dies when his magic school is ransacked by a neighboring school. And so he's happy to be dead. And he wants to remain dead. And then he's raised by a necromancer. And so throughout the entire book, all he wants to do is die and stay dead. So it's a tongue-in-cheek humor. It's satirical, kind of based on like World of Warcraft and other online fantasy games. And what happens when there's a rogue AI and glitches and things are starting to go wrong, and discovering that you are part of a game, and you have conversations between the creators and coders interspersed between the book. So, will Jim ever die? That is the question. And it is fabulous. I've read it twice. So that doesn't count for 2 books, it counts for 1, but I highly recommend Mog World.
Awesome.
Okay.
So the next one I have is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. And I didn't get to mention, but I actually read 76 books last year. And I have to say, I'm really proud of myself. I want to get 100 this year. And of course, we can't do all of our books because we'd be here all day. But She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan is awesome. If you like retellings of the Mulan story, this is good, but so much better than Mulan. So it starts out with our main character. I actually forgot her name, but she's super awesome. Zhu. And she's just a poor peasant girl, and she's abused by her family, abused by society horribly. And she decides, you know what? I'm not going to be nothing. I'm going to be something, because according to the culture back then, the girls were nothing. In China, they had to serve the men and everything. And so she decides she's going to cross-dress, and she's going to go become a monk, and she's going to go write her own story. And there's war, and there's famine, and there's all these crazy things. And it spans most of her life, where she is trying to figure out how to, talk like a man, spit like a man, do all the things you got to do, and be a monk at the same time. And she believes that she has a higher destiny, that she is going to be an emperor or something crazy. So as she's going and she's growing through all of these wars and these different battles and stuff, and I'm telling, this is for older teens because it is, seriously bloody. If you like really bloody battles, this is a good one. And mind games, political mind games, super fun. So she is smart, she is fierce, it's a good one. So definitely check it out. She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. It's also not finished. He Who Drowned the World is the second book, and it comes out in August. And I hate waiting, but I'm waiting, mostly patiently.
Okay. I don't believe that. Anyway, this is The Fear by Natasha Preston. And this is one of her mini books. She writes a bunch of really intense thrillers. And they go into dark subjects like being kidnapped or murder and stuff like that. But this one isn't as crazy as some of the other ones I've read. So this is about a small town where there's someone posts a meme of repost with your worst death fear. So everyone in the town's like, ooh, this is so cool, let's do it.
I wouldn't do it.
No. Which is so smart, right? So everyone in the high school is posting it, and her cousin and everything, and she's just like, that doesn't sound really smart. I'm not going to post it. And then,
they die.
Lo and behold, people start dying like how they posted in their death fear. on the meme, and so they're trying to figure out who posted it because like they know it was someone in their town. So she's trying to figure out who it is, and like as people are slowly dying, she's like, well, I didn't repost it, so I'm good, she thinks. So it's really good. It is creepy. It's really fast paced. I read it in one day, and I couldn't stop reading it, and I was like, wow, you know, the internet can be scary. So, but this is a great book. The Fear by Natasha Preston. I highly recommend it.
I think that would give me nightmares.
Oh yeah, it was good.
Yeah. On a lighter note, I read Wind, Book 1, The Flight of the Prince, and Book 2, The Secret of the Wings. It's a young adult graphic novel. It's also LGBTQ, and it's cute and adorable. And it's about a world where if you have magical blood, it's a death sentence. So Wind has pointed ears, and so he's always having to have his hair cover his ears or wear a hat. And when the secret is not quite revealed, but they're getting closer, he is forced to run away with his best friend, the boy he's been crushing on, and the prince. And he's going to have to come to grips with his magic to see if he can save him and his friends. And then it leaves on a little bit of a cliffhanger, but we had book 2, which is wonderful. And then it ends, and you want more, and book 3 is coming. I'm not sure of the release date, but it's super cute. The artwork is beautiful. And it's written by James Tinian IV and Michael Dialness. And they're the creator of The Woods. They've illustrated Batman graphic novels, and they are a lot of fun. And again, I cannot wait for book 3.
Awesome.
Somewhat patiently.
I still don't believe you.
All right. My next one, I've actually done a rapid review of this. It's Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. And this was the second book that I read this year. And I think I've read it like twice or three times since, because I really, really love it. It's beautiful. The writing is gorgeous. The cover is gorgeous.
Yeah, I love it.
The world building is awesome too. And I love stories that make you cry. The characters grow throughout their experiences. And there's magic, and this has it all, and violence. There's a lot of violence too.
I see a reoccurring theme in your books.
Yes, and it is. It really is. Stephanie Garber says it's a breathtaking debut novel, and it really is. It took my breath. So, Daughter of the Moon Goddess is based on the Chinese legend of Chang'e, who is the celestial moon goddess. That's right. So, in the story, in the original story, she loves the archer Hui Yi, who shot down these flaming birds that were going to burn the whole world. So he saved the world. As a reward, the emperor of the celestial kingdom gave him an elixir of immortality so that he could become a god. And in different stories, she drinks it for different reasons. In this story, they don't really give you the answer. She just drinks it. And then she ends up floating to the moon, forever separated from Hui Yi. It's such a beautiful story. But this is the continuation, because this is the daughter of the moon goddess. So we find out she drank that because she had a daughter. She had a baby in her womb. And they were in trouble, and she needed to save her. So she floats up to the moon without even realizing it, and she's forever separated from Hui Yi, and she raises her daughter on the moon. So when her daughter comes of age and her powers are starting to take over, and she doesn't know how to control them, she's discovered by the celestial kingdom, and she has to go out into this awesome world. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to try to show you. There's a map.
Ooh.
I'm telling you.
I love maps.
It's absolutely gorgeous. So you've got the moon kingdom, then the celestial kingdom, then you've got the demons, then you've got the earth. And they're not like evil demons and everything, but they're like dark magical creatures that are super fun. There's dragons, there's magical trees, all kinds of things. So Daughter of the Moon Goddess is awesome. It follows her journey. Of course, there's a little bit of a love triangle and everything, and there's great battle scenes. She becomes a warrior in her own right. And what I love about this book is it doesn't end on a cliffhanger. There is a second one. There's actually a third one, too, in the works. But the second one came out in November. I read it within just a couple of days. It was awesome. It's called Heart of the Sun Warrior. Came out in November. It is available to put it on hold. And then the third one is in the works. So I'll be waiting on pins and needles for that one, too. But yes, Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. Check it out. It's amazing. And Heart of the Sun Warrior. You might as well get them both.
So mine's another standalone because I don't have the patience to wait for books. I'm really bad at it. So most of my books that I read are standalone or like 5 years after everyone else when the series is finished. So this is Eight Will Fall by Sarah Harrion, and I love this book so much. I made my husband read it. I made Ashley read it. And it's just great. Liz hasn't read it yet, but it's coming. She will read it.
It gave me nightmares.
Yeah, so it's spooky. I will warn you.
It was good, but it gave me nightmares.
Yeah, so it's about 17-year-old Larkin, and she's an empath, meaning that she was born with the ability to sense other people's emotions. And she lives in, what's it called? Demura. And in Demura, magic and being an empath and everything is outlawed. Like, it's really bad. No one does it. No one talks about it, because of the past and everything that happened in the history of the land. So when she is found out that she has this power, she's chosen with 7 other people to go on this quest down into like this underground world of like cave systems and everything to into a realm of unspeakable horrors is how it's described. And it is. Yep. It's bad. Mm-hmm. So she goes down there and they find all kinds of creepy stuff. There's a lot of body horror, like hands growing from stomachs.
Think Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah, it's rough, but it's great. So this is probably my favorite. That's why Liz hasn't read it yet. But I would say this is one of my favorite books I have ever read. Ever.
Really?
Yes. I would say this is in my top 10 books I've ever read. It's great. So it says in the back, though I have fallen, darkness will rise. So it's just like super good, super creepy. Yes. If you like anything remotely creepy, please read this book.
I have a couple of things to add to it. One, my only complaint was there wasn't enough. This author had such a great imagination. Yes. It could have gone farther.
Oh, it could have been, like 3 books.
I'm waiting for another book. What's your name? Sarah Harrion? I'm waiting for another book. And then if you like Inuyasha, if you know what I'm talking about, the anime Inuyasha, where all of the demon parts are kind of coming out of the walls and stuff like that, you will love this, because I kept going back to Inuyasha the entire time. Only Inuyasha's not quite as scary as that one. That one's scared me.
I read it before I went to bed every night. She had nightmares. So. But yeah, Eight Will Fall by Sarah Harrion. It's great.
The lights on.
It's great.
Like, my brand of scary that I can handle is like Scritch Scratch, which is one of the 2022-2023 Sunshine State books that we have for, I think it's grades, it's either 3 to 5 or 6 to 8.
It's 6 to 8.
6 to 8. And it was creepy where I had goosebumps the entire time that I was reading it. And the ghosts and everything that's mentioned in the book is actually based on a real historical event that happened in the New England area. So that was really cool. But it's like a building of suspense, and it's sustained versus like jump scare and different things like that. So that's my brand of scary, and I highly recommend Scritch Scratch as well.
No, that book's like, oh, you're about 50 pages in, get ready. It's like, go.
So I'm going to talk about Gladys, the Magic Chicken. by Adam Rubin and illustrated by Adam Rex. And I had our historian for Charlotte County read it, and she thought it was the most adorable book ever, and she loved it. And it's about a chain of events where Gladys the Chicken just starts the ball rolling, and it's cause and effect all throughout the book, and then she makes a circle all the way back to the beginning. But it's absolutely hilarious. So it says, "Hark, hear the tale of the dancing chicken called Gladys. Legend says she was magic. The shepherd boy wished to be beautiful. The brave swordsman wished to join the royal guard. The learned princess wished to escape the purple palace. And abracockadoodle-doo, their wishes were granted. Or was it all just an incredible coincidence? Well, maybe you should read it and decide for yourself. One thing's for sure, there's never been a more epic adventure with a hero who's a chicken." And I read this out loud to my grandmother, my aunt, and my mom, and we all burst out laughing. And I will be reading it to 5th graders who will be visiting the Punta Gorda Library soon, and everyone will know about Gladys, the Magic Chicken. So you go back into the days of ancient Persia and laugh hysterically. So that's my recommendation for that one.
All right. I have Blood Marked by Tracy Dion. This is the second book in the Legend-Born cycle. I don't have Legend-Born because it is checked out because, yes, it's that good. But Legend-Born was actually the first book that I read last year in 2022. And this one came out in November, and I devoured it. Look how thick this is. I devoured this in less than 2 days, a day and a half. So I also listened to it on audio, so I'm kind of cheating. But yes, I loved it so much. So going back to Legendborn, this is a great one to have for your African American voices bookshelf. It's so awesome. Yes, Bree. Her name is Bree. Bree is, she's reeling from her mother's sudden death in a car accident, and she starts going to school at Chapel Hill, and which is a very old university, a lot, Southern roots and all that, and she finds this crazy underworld where the Legendborn are fighting these demons, and it harkens back to the legend of King Arthur and how, yes, and the Round Table. So we're bringing King Arthur and all of his knights at the Round Table into modern times. And I don't want to give away too much, but basically what happens is there are chosen bloodlines that they go all the way back to the knights, and the knights' souls will take over the bodies of the modern people and fight these demons. And these are some really cool demons. So again, this is another bloody, violent book that you may want the older teens to read, but it's so good. And it does have some darker undertones as well. When you go down into Bree's history and stuff, it goes back into slavery. It goes way back to her family's origins in Africa and how they did eventually become slaves. I mean, it was really good. And Bloodmarked is the continuation of the journey. So something really big happens in the last novel. It is not a cliffhanger, thank God. It does end and it feels good. You're like, okay, but you also want more. So here's the second book. Bloodmarked came out in November. And it's a continuation of the story. You get more answers, you get more questions, but you do get some answers. You get more awesome characters. I loved this book because of all of the new characters. And what I love about Tracy Deon's writing is every time you get through one riddle, there's another one, and another one, and another. There's all these paths and everything. And then at the end, she brings it all together beautifully. Or sometimes she leaves it a little bit, so you have to figure it out in the next book. So definitely check it out, Legendborn and Bloodmarked by Tracy Deon, and wait for the third one, because it's coming.
Okay, so this is Better Than the Movies. So this is by Lynn Painter. And this is such a cute YA rom-com. It is about Liz, who is...
Wait, what?
No, not her.
Not me.
Liz is, when she was young, she had a neighbor named Wes, and he's still her neighbor, but he was like the menace in her life. Like, he put a frog in her dollhouse. He like cut the head off of a gnome and put it in her bedroom. Like, all these things happen when they're young. They're like arch enemies. And then 10 years later, they're in high school, and Liz's mother has passed away, and their thing was rom-coms. So like When Harry Met Sally, Bridget Jones' Diary, all those, she's obsessed with them. And so she has this idea of like the perfect senior prom and how everything has to live up to the movies that she's seen. So Michael, who was her childhood crush, just moved back into town. So she's like, awesome, it's going to be great. We're going to have prom, and it's going to be just like the movies, everything I want it to be. So she notices that Michael and Wes are friends, and she hates it, but she goes up to Wes, and she's like, listen, I need your help. We got to make it come true. I need my perfect prom, and you're going to help me with it. So lo and behold, I keep saying that. I don't know why I keep saying that. But like, so they're trying to work towards the perfect rom-com, and really, really cute things happen. I don't want to give any spoilers, but it ends up being better than the movies. And it was so cute. It was like the best book boyfriend ever. Like, such realistic characters.
But a
they were
Cuban
just
Girl's
great.
Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. Orion
It was like
is
the
best
same.
book boyfriend.
Wes was almost better than Orion.
No.
Yes.
No,
I
you
loved
can't beat
it.
my British boy. No.
It was just so good. It was great. I recommend it to anyone who likes rom-coms.
I like the Asian boys.
Movies or the books, any of it. It was sweet, and it also dealt with like heartfelt things because her mom had passed away, so it helped deal with loss and all of that. And it was great. So, Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter.
Yes, it's not. These are adult. These are not YA. Nope.
No. Can
I mean, maybe.
Cass is YA?
Maybe book one. Just try it.
Sure.
Okay.
Just tell them it's for new adults.
Okay. You cannot see the beautiful cover because I took the jacket off, but this is A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. You may have watched the show. I cannot wait to watch the show. I am on hold for season 1. We have season 1, 2, and 3.
I've seen season 1. It's good.
Oh, so excited. So definitely new adult, but you have Diana, who comes from a witch family. They can trace their lineage back to the bishops from the Salem witch trials and beyond that. So this is our modern world, but you have 4 races. You have witches, demons, vampires, and then humans. And there's a rule that's an unspoken rule between all 3 of the supernatural species that you do not mix with one another. You do not talk, you don't associate, because when the 2 different species get together, it draws human attention, and that's what you don't want with magic. But Diana Bishop has tried to ignore her lofty lineage. So she's done everything on her own merit. She is a scholar at Oxford, she teaches there, and she refuses to use magic. But then things start happening, and she brings forth Ashmole 782, which is a enchanted manuscript now that everyone wants. So it's her meeting Matthew de Clermont, who is a French vampire, and so there's a little bit of romance that happens with that, but there's alchemy, there's history, and there's so much beautifulness in this book. And I highly recommend the audiobook. It is a lengthy one. It's 24 hours. I was still listening to it last night, so it's carried over from 2022 to 2023. It left me on a cliffhanger, so I ran to my bookshelf. I grabbed the printed copy. I found my chapter. I read some last night, and I finished it this morning, and I'm already a quarter of the way, maybe, through book 2 on my phone.
Nice.
That's what I do on my lunch.
You say 24 hours?
Yes.
Challenge accepted.
It is so good. I highly recommend it. My dad was aghast that I hadn't watched the show on Amazon Prime or, checked out the DVD.
Finish the books first.
But I'm like, but it's a book and I have it on my bookshelf.
Right.
But it's beautiful and there's magic and it's accepting who you are and then using the gifts that you are given, and there's politics and all sorts of fun things, and I highly recommend it. It is a glorious piece of literature, and I am so happy to have read it.
That's so
why
funny
would
because
I'm sorry. Why would you categorize it as new adult?
New adult or adult, the character, or Diana, she's 33, so
Okay.
she's in her 30s, and there's not many spicy things that happen, but it's hinting at, and there's some blood and gore
Gotcha.
stuff with murder.
So
and
17 and up.
And
Yeah.
towards the end, there's torture.
Gotcha.
But it's really good. It's not explicit or anything, and I'm in book 2, and nothing super explicit's happening. If there is, there's not many details. But I would say older teen and adult, definitely, and it's wonderful.
Good to know. What were you
I was
gonna
going to say it's funny because I got about 100 pages into it and was like, meh, and moved on.
Well,
yeah.
the audiobook.
Not dark enough
it was
for you?
so
No,
good.
it was-
coming out of the walls?
No, it was boring.
But the
Just-
different accents, because you have Scottish, you have Irish, you have English, you have a typical
geez.
American accent, and then you
I'm
have the
audiobooking.
French
yeah,
accent.
I'll try the audiobook.
So even reading it, it's like, I have to know what happens. I have to go. I have the voices in my head. It sounds crazy, but I have the voices in my head. So even reading it further on, I'm like, oh. Or you hear the name Isabeau, which is Matthew's mother, and that's not how I thought it was spelt. So,
Okay.
yeah, lots of French words.
All right, now getting to my favorite book of the year. All right, so I read Gilded by Marissa Mayer. That's the first book in this one. This is a duology. So it is finished and I don't have to wait. I'm so excited. Marissa Mayer has become one of my top 5 authors. She's amazing. Probably top 3. No, yeah, she's top 3. She is amazing. Everything she's written, she's gotten better with each one. So she's the author of the Lunar Chronicles that start with Cinder and And all of those characters in there. So you got a cyborg Cinderella, like, hello, yes, please. And moving on into superheroes. What was that one called?
Oh.
Renegades?
Yes.
Renegades.
Yeah.
That one was amazing too. And this series this duology just took it over. It's so good. So it's a retelling of Rumpelstiltskin and Earl Koenig. So Earl Koenig is an evil elf king that steals children in old German literature. And I love how she married these two together. If you've seen Once Upon a Time on TV, it's an older one now. I think it was like in 2006 or something. They had Belle and Rumpelstiltskin get together, and you had the Rum-Belle shipping and everything. It was wonderful. I loved that. But this trumped it so much. So this story of Rumpelstiltskin is dark. It's like super dark. So I would definitely say 17 and up because it's bloody, it's gory, it's somewhat could give you nightmares, but for me, the magical elements was just, woo, so good. So in Gilded, we have Cerilda, who is, you could say she's blessed by the god of stories, but she's also cursed by the god of lies, who, guess what, same thing. Same guy, same person, same god. What I love about this is the gods don't have genders, so they're always they. So, and because they can appear as any person, as any
like Loki.
animal or anything. Yes. And so she was blessed when she was born by the god of stories or lies, and she has these golden wheels in her eyes, the wheels of fortune. And because of that, most people stay away from her. But she has this gift of spinning stories. So if you love the trope where it's a story within a story, these are the books for you, because you got her spinning stories while in the story that are about this story and brought this story on. I mean, it's gorgeous, and it's like a big tapestry where she takes all of the different stories and she weaves this gorgeous tapestry. It's beautiful. And there are tapestries in this book too. Like, there are so many Easter eggs in this book, in both these books. So in Gilded, we start the journey with Cerilda. She meets Earl Koenig, and well, what does she do? She lies to him because she was blessed by the god of lies. And she tells him that she can spin straw into gold. And so he's like, all right, well, you're coming back to my castle and you're spinning me some straw into gold. And lo and behold, she can't do that. So she meets this ghost. And he, not really a ghost, actually. He's more of a spirit, so he's not dead-ish, but like there's so much to it. But anyway, he has the power to spin the straw into gold, so they make a bargain. And the whole time there's tricking the Earl King. There's this huge mystery going on in this castle full of ghosts. And the ghosts are pretty creepy because they appear the way they died. So if they just look, they look like that. And if they look like that, their guts are falling out, their eyeballs are missing, stuff like that. And so the first book ends with so dark, so horrible, like it rips your heart out, eats it, and then throws it back at you. And then the second book takes place right after the first one. I love when they do that. And I had to wait, though. I had to wait like 6 months to get my hands on this. And I devoured it completely. It's huge, but I totally killed it. And I could not put it down. I could not stop listening. It was really good. The audiobook is awesome, too, because the reader is excellent. And we go further into the mystery in this one. You meet a few new characters, and you start to realize that everyone has their story in this. And I love how Marissa Mayer is an amazing author because she brings all of those stories together in the end to give you such a satisfying, cataclysmic, I cried so much ending. You need tissues for this one. It was really good. So check it out. Gilded and Cursed by Marissa Mayer.
I'm definitely going to read those.
So good. So good.
Okay. So my next book is How to Date a Superhero and Not Die Trying by Cristina Fernandez. And it's great. So it is very like tongue-in-cheek, like the title is. It's about Astrid, who is not a superhero. She is an ordinary college student who prides herself, like if she had a superpower, it would be being on time to things. Like that's how she is. She's like very organized. Everything has its place. Everything has its time.
That is a superpower.
And she is crazy. Like she's so good at school. She has like every minute planned to like the second, like, okay, I need to schedule a mental breakdown for 3:30 in the morning after I finish my note cards. Okay, go. Like, that's how she is. And she has this wonderful boyfriend, Max, that she loves, and then she finds out that he's a superhero because she's kidnapped by a supervillain. And so once she finds this out, she has to go to, like, this training camp to, like, learn how to be a superhero's significant other. And she's like, I don't have time for this. She's like, Max, you're making my life complicated. I have to now schedule in time for this class to learn how to not die because I'm with you. And it's super cute. It's her going to college, dealing with, like, stress of life and the future, while also dealing with, like, relationships that are a lot more complicated when they can fly. But it's great. So I highly recommend it. How to Date a Superhero and Not Die Trying. Although they are in college, I would say high schoolers can read this one. And I even would encourage it for, like, seniors. It's a good introduction to how college is and how to not get overwhelmed by it. So, yes.
Memories.
Yeah, exactly. So How to Date a Superhero and Not Die Trying by Christina Fernandez.
I'm putting that on my TBR.
It's so cute. You'd love it.
So the last book I have to talk about is called Let's Pretend This Never Happened by Jenny Lawson, which is checked out. But I have the second book, which is called Furiously Happy, a funny book about horrible things. This is definitely in the new adult range. I would not recommend this for teenagers. But what's hilarious is she is a blogger. They call her a bloggess. And she's documented all of her childhood growing up and how she meets her husband, Victor, and her children and dealing with her family. So she grew up in rural Texas in a town called Wall that didn't even have a gas station when she was little. And everything that is in that book is true. And you're like, no. And I had my mom listen to the audiobook as well. It's absolutely hilarious. It's irreverent. And it made my mom swerve a couple times while driving because we were laughing so hard. But
it's a biography.
It's a biography. It's a memoir. Both of them. And she has a third book too, and it deals with mental illness and dealing with anxiety and depression and different things like that. It's a riot. You will laugh your head off. Her father was in the Army, and then he retires and becomes a taxidermist. And so then it's, the weird things that he's doing taxidermy on and wearing a deer sweater and all sorts of things. And she doesn't skimp on the details. She loves to cuss. And it's great. I can't say much more. But I'm excited to read Furiously Happy.
So my next book is an adult fiction book, but there's really nothing overly adult in it. I mean, it's kind of creepy.
Oh, yes. Abby recommended that one.
It's so good.
I want to read
this
it.
is Hide by Kirsten White, who you might recognize because she wrote the Guinevere Deception series for YA, which is really good. So this is Hide. It is about this high-stakes game of hide and seek. So think like hide and seek to the extreme that takes place in an abandoned theme park.
No.
So it's, I forget how many there are. There's like 6 people, maybe, oh no, 7, okay, 14 competitors. Sorry, I forgot how many. So there are 14 random people that they're just on a bus. They're pulled from all over the place. There isn't really a main character because it goes through all of them, which I like. It's one of those books where in a chapter, it'll have like a paragraph break and then it will be someone else's perspective. So the challenge is to spend a week hiding in an abandoned amusement park, and there's a map of the park. So it's like a giant maze where everything is like run down.
Is so
oh
good.
Yeah, everything is run
gosh.
down. The park opened in 1953, and this is in modern times. So it's like it's been there for a long time, sitting empty. So the Ferris wheel is probably not the safest. Like nothing is up to code, I guess you could say. And all 14 competitors are hiding. And they don't tell you what they're hiding from. All they say is that people, or you will be seeked, basically. They don't say what is going to search for you. So every day 2 people go out, and only 2 people, which is weird because you're thinking, why would only 2 people be found if it's an entire sun up to sundown day of hide and seek? So as you're reading it, you're like, I feel like things are happening. And like you're reading it and you're just like, this is not a normal game of hide and seek. There's something else going on there. So it gets into fantasy things, kind of. Not like overly fantasy. Well, I mean, yeah. It's not like a fantasy book, but it's like things that shouldn't be real.
Supernatural?
Yeah, supernatural, I'd say. It's not categorized as supernatural because it's like borderline supernatural, more like ancient curse kind of thing.
Cool.
But it's really good. It's like, it's great. It's kind of like a reality, because they think it's a reality TV show, so they're all like, oh, I'm going to be the popular one. I'm going to be like the fun one. And then the one girl's just like, I just want to hide because I'm good at it. So, but it's great. Hide by Kirsten White. I think it's good for, I would say, 15 and up.
I want to read it.
Yeah,
All right.
it's great.
I got one more. This one's for the kiddos. I absolutely love this. Acorn Was a Little Wild
Yes.
by Jen Arena and illustrated
good.
by Jessica Gibson. It really was so cute. So I love all the stories where like the characters start out as little seeds and then they grow. There's another one called The Little Tree that he's so scared of losing his leaves that he holds them tight all throughout the winter, and then he doesn't grow with the rest of the forest, and then he learns it's okay to let his leaves go so that he can accept the changes and grow. And this one's super cute because this little acorn really just is wild. So he rolls throughout the book. He gets warned.
so
They warn
cute.
him in the beginning, that, be careful, you might fall. And he's just like, I want to fall. Let's go. Don't do that. And he's just like, I'm not going to listen. And he's rolling all throughout the books. And he gets into one perilous situation after another and finds his way out by he keeps on rolling. Keeps on rolling with the punches. And it's so cute. And as he goes, he gets further and further into his life cycle. You know what happens with an acorn. They get planted, they grow their roots, and they become beautiful trees. And what I love about this is in the ending, he's not like his mother tree where he's just like, don't do that, you shouldn't do that. He's like, go out into the world, experience it for yourself. It's beautiful. So definitely check it out for your child. Acorn Was a Little Wild by Jen Arena. Super fun.
All right, so that was just a taste of all the books that we've read this year. We have plenty more we can recommend to you if you want any tips or advice on what to read. Come up to any of us because we have thousands of books to recommend to you.
Oh, we could talk your ear off about books all day.
And we're already building our to-be-read list for this year, and it's just growing. So
I've
I
read
already have
6
10 on my
books.
list.
I've already read 6 books.
10 that are coming out this year.
So, yes. So thank you for listening to us. I hope you found something that you would enjoy reading. And
We'll
if
see
you
you
read
soon.
it, come talk to us about it.
For sure.
Happy reading!